If you could suddenly control the weather, what do you think you would do? Welcome to Origins. We go over the origins of your favorite superheroes and villains. Today we're going to be looking at one of the most important characters from the last 40 years of Marvel Comics, the weather goddess herself, none other than Storm. Now keep in mind, as with most old superheroes in the Marvel Universe, we may have problems finding the exact art and panels for the comics, so it might be slightly off. Storm's humble beginnings start with a romantic relationship between the Kenya tribal princess named Nader and the American photographer named David Monroe. The two fell in love and they moved to New York City, where they gave birth to Aurora Monroe, whose name is translated as beauty. As she grows older, she grows her trademark white hair, which is a hereditary trait of Kenya priestesses and not a mutant trait. The Monroe family then moves back to Cairo, Egypt, because that's where they want to raise their family. However, when Aurora was 5 years old, a tragic accident takes place with a fighter jet that crashes into her childhood home, outright killing both of her parents. Stuck under the rubble after her parents died, Aurora becomes afflicted with claustrophobia, which she still struggles with in comics today. After the accident, she is orphaned and she wanders the streets of Cairo until she's picked up by a street-level crime lord named Ahmed El Gabar. As a part of this criminal gang, he trains Aurora to be an incredible thief, excelling at picking pockets, picking locks, and being sneaky. In fact, we find out that this is the first time that she met Professor X, because she was attempting to steal from him while he was in Cairo looking for the Shadow King. While Professor X knew that she was a mutant, he did not pursue her right away, but he would remember that young mutant later when he needed to recruit mutants. Eventually, Aurora grows tired of the life of thievery, and she decides to travel to the Serengeti Plains of Kenya, her ancestral home. During the journey, she finds herself almost dying in the middle of the Sahara Desert, and that's when her mutant power finally manifests. She discovers that she can control the weather, which she later puts to use to save the life of the Wakandan prince named T'Challa as he was being kidnapped. The two of them develop a young romance, but T'Challa has to walk away from their relationship because of his duty as the future king of Wakanda. Eventually, Aurora makes it to the Serengeti Plains, where she freely uses her mutant powers to control the weather. During this time here, Aurora is introduced to a witch priestess that takes Aurora in and becomes her surrogate mother. She helps Aurora control her newfound powers, which she must be very careful with because the weather is not so easily controlled. As she learns to control her mutant powers over the weather, the people of Kenya begin to regard her as a goddess. This brings us to one of the most famous comics in Marvel history, Giant-Size X-Men #1. When Professor X needs to assemble a new team of mutants to rescue the original X-Men from a sentient island creature, he gathers mutants from all over the world, and he remembered his encounter with the young mutant in Cairo, so he recruited her. Professor X then explained to Aurora that she was not a goddess, but she was indeed a mutant, and he offered to help her control her abilities if she would join his new version of the X-Men. Intrigued by the professor, she accepts and he gives her the title of Storm because of her amazing mutant abilities. Storm's biggest impact is on the history of comics themselves. She is the first African-American female superhero, and she does not disappoint. Today she has her own title and she is featured in a multitude of X-Men books, where she is usually the leader of some sort of mutant team. We thought it was important to bring you this uncanny X-Men origin, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like because we're gonna start bringing you Mutant Mondays for the Marvel Universe. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Comicstorian and check out these other great videos. You just might like them. I'm Benny for Comicstorian and I will see you guys next time.